Hey, what's up guys? It's Phoenix. As most of you guys know, Awesome N00bster's on vacation right now, so I was going to try and help him by creating a new build for everybody. I've seen a lot of people requesting a Contagion build, so this is the best I could get to a rather consistent version of one. So to start off, I'm going to show the skills and everything. I'm going Stepomancer Clawbringer. A lot of people with Clawbringer, they think that it's kind of pointless and it's just, something to throw on. But I found that the first skill, Oath of Fire, your gun damage gets bonus fire damage, which is nice. If you're not using a fire weapon, it helps proc some more elements. This one is just more elemental damage. And then this one is when you kill things or whenever your companion kills things, it summons another fire ability that can proc some more fire ability damage. That being said, it still is not very much from the tree here. So over to the Stabomancer, of course we're using from the shadows for those crits and everything. Overall, this is kind of the bread and butter of any Contagion build. It's what allows the crazy crits on the dot damage. Other than that, it's pretty basic. We have Arsenal for just damage. Um, Potent Poisons and Exploit Their Weaknesses both are just, for status effect. Anything that says status effect, we want to put as many points as we can into. Follow up is just kind of when I threw some points into just because I needed to get a little bit further down the tree. Shadow Step, this one is kind of nice. On kill skill, your next melee attack is a guaranteed critical hit. So I don't use actual melee in this build, but this does pair rather nicely with Executioner's Blade. If you get this to proc, the Ethereal Blade that deals melee damage works well. Other than those, obviously we have Contagion. I have it maxed out 6 out of 6. We have Elusive. This one's not necessary either. I just enjoy being able to move around more freely while shooting. We have our crit damage. So when we're proccing all those dots and crits, it gets those insane numbers that we're looking for in the Contagion build. And then 1,000 cuts is increased damage dealt on crits, so it just continuously stacks all of these. And then Alchemical Agent, melee critical hits apply a random status effect. This can proc off Executioner's Blade, so that's kind of nice for giving us another status effect. Executioner's Blade isn't something that this build super heavily relies on, just because getting it to proc on a gun build rather than a melee build is kind of rough. Other than that, our hero stats, I put maxed out into strength, and I maxed out my wisdom to get status damage. I believe the archetype I chose had a debuff to wisdom, so if you choose a different one, you can get that number a little bit higher, so you can get Contagion to proc a little bit easier. As for the gear, we have the live wire. It's really good with its fast fire rate to get the shock proc. I don't tend to use it a lot unless I need range, because the other weapons proc the status effects a lot better. This is the blast off pistol. It shoots a fish that explodes, but it has a 25% chance of applying a poison static proc, so I kind of use this one a lot just because it's fun and different. This, however, the Crossblade of Discipline, this one is fire and poison on mine. And it also has a 26% chance, which is the highest one we have. And I find this is the most consistent weapon to proc all of the status effects. The Queen's Cry, we don't use it for anything other than the taser. This one has the taser on the bottom, and you just spam out as many tasers onto the boss and pop from the shadows, and it gets quite a lot of shock status procs. This melee weapon, it has Caustic and Echo if you want to use melee at all in this build. The Effacious Enchant is really the main thing, which is on action still start, increase status effect chance and damage by 20% for 10 seconds. Moving on from that, we have the same ring in both slots. It's just action skill cooldown rate, so we can get our From the Shadows back faster, because this build does rely so heavily on that. If you run out, you want it back as fast as possible. And then SMG critical hit damage. Out of all of our guns, the Livewire kind of feels like it's lacking, so I wanted to give it a little bit of a buff so it would keep up with the other guns and it didn't just kind of feel like a wasted slot. If you guys have any other rings you'd like to use, feel free. This primary stats gun damage because I really didn't want to go melee. I'm not a big fan of the melee in this game. Other than that, we have Cursed Wit. I only really use this for, since this build doesn't have as much health, when I'm close to death, I can get that bonus damage. And then I have Desperate on it, so I can kind of have a little bit more survivability. Finally, the best piece is going to be our Smart Armor. It's what has the +3 Contagion on it, and when you're in From the Shadows, you're guaranteed crits, so any critical hit you do is going to be increased damage by 50%. Our amulet over here is just 81.8% status effect damage, because the higher that is, the better your chances are for getting those crazy numbers. And then this spell, triggering Inflammation, is 110% chance to proc status effect. So whoever you hit with this is gonna get a status on them. I found this to be the best when paired with our Crossblade, because you can shoot the Crossblade and the spell at the same time on the boss, and it just absolutely melts. Even if you don't get those crazy status procs, it's still pretty consistent damage. And then I threw in this, just a gelatinous cube with Venomous on it in case you want to try a different spell. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's kind of hit or miss. Either, you're going to proc and get the crazy damage, or it's going to kind of feel like it did nothing at all. Other than that, that's kind of everything I got going on. I'm hoping that you guys enjoy it. With Contagion builds, it's always kind of a hit or miss because it's not guaranteed crazy OP one-shots like the other Primo builds that we have in the Discord. So if you guys have any questions or, find any improvements or anything you think I should try out, hit me up in the Discord. I'm active a lot of the time, and just want to shout out thanks to Awesome N00bster for creating this great community. I've talked to a lot of you guys on the Discord, and all of you guys are great. So none of this would be possible without any of you guys.
Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to throw in some gameplay here for y'all. This is just showing the first few clips of what the status procs are when they're crazy high damages like you see on all of the highlights and everything. I have some for all of the weapons just to kind of show them all off, see that they all have the chance to do that crazy insane damage. The last clip that you're going to see is going to be me fighting Zomboss, and I didn't want to just show you all of the clips of me absolutely deleting bosses with this build. I did want to show you a clip of me fighting a boss and the Contagion wasn't proccing quite properly. It still was able to kill the boss, didn't take too long at all, but here's the clip. I'll let you guys kind of see for yourself.